some poses real quick here with my steps. Here's the steps. I put them on my posing wheel. I tend to cover them so that if they show a little bit, I'm going to keep this up higher because I actually want you to see them in the video. And what I do with a male is I'll place him here, and I'll put a foot on the floor, which is behind, and a foot on the step. This tends to be a little bit too low, so what I use is a 4x4 block of wood. These were just scraps, and I use them frequently, and I put it on there. It's not as high as this step, which is too high, too tight. I feel tight here, and it's higher than that. So what I do is put their foot on there, and it tends to be almost perfect every time. Then of course we don't want this hunched back look here, so we want to pull in that lower back, lean them forward at the hips, lean them here onto the knee. This arm should be fairly vertical. With the hands on a male, we want the wrists fairly straight. When we go into a female, we want fingers loose and the wrists bent down, the hand bent back. So we have this very feminine look here. But for a male, we want straight. So we go like this. We also don't want to see the back of the hand, as I've mentioned. So we want to rotate that hand so that it's more pinky edge. Here's my pinky. This is the pinky edge. Pinky edge at the camera. Now ideally, what I've mentioned, using a piece of chalk or a little piece of dowel, and when you're starting out it works easy. It's just something that would fit right here, and it lets you grip it with just the ring finger and the pinky, and when the other fingers are relaxed they'll just fall into place. So you end up something like this with the hand. Those two are tight, the rest are just relaxed, and you get still just a little bit of a lift of the finger, not as much as we'd want, you know, for a feminine hand, but we don't want a tight fist as well. So by doing that, it makes that hand just right. And this one, same thing, just down here. The pointer can almost be, sometimes I'll say to the senior, rub your fingers together like you're rubbing on a nickel or a coin, and then just bring them together. See, it just kind of a rub and then drop, and it keeps the pointer just slightly loose. So we got a hand here, hand here. The nice thing about the posing wheel is if you're a little bit off and this leg is too at the camera and the camera view is showing right into the crotch, we don't want that. You can just put your foot on there and give it a turn until this area just hides that and gives you the angle you want. And then the shoulder is also on a 45. This would be square at. This would be, what is that, 90? Yeah, 90 degrees. So right in the middle is a 45, which really is right at the main light right now. Posture is the key. We don't want this at all. So pulling that lower back in, leaning into it, dropping the hands like so, fingers just kind of loose. We would crop this shot right about here so we don't see the steps. Just in case we pick up the seat here, you got the black cloth over it and it's hidden. So you got a really nice start. Now even with this as a couple pose, you start with the male like this. You can do the female right here, standing, leaning on his shoulder, and kind of leaning in this way, and this is a nice basis to a lot of good male poses. From here, you could bring a hand up. Again, we don't want too much of the back of the hand, so kind of keep the hand so the pinky edge is a bit more towards the camera. You could also do this. This would be our male number 1 with the face in the same angle as our shoulders. You could go into a cross camera, which would be the male number 2. So you're just going to go like this, turn that, and watch. My hand pretty much stays the same, but just kind of watch as it comes around like that. You still want the back straight, we're not hunchy, but by just turning it around, you get a really nice cross camera, and the hand should also go down. It shouldn't be up so that you can't see the tops of the fingers. You want it in such a way that, and if you have to, what I'm doing here is just taking that elbow off, leaning into it. You should see these fingers. So then you're going to do the rotation here, and you got the masculine tilt automatic. This would be feminine, of course. So you got the masculine tilt, and there's a really nice shot, either 3/4 or come in and do a close-up headshot of that. Now because the main light, I want to go as quick as possible. The main light is not on that side, short light. what we'll do is this version, which is the same thing. Posture. Posture's the key, leaning in. We've got this. You can actually do this as shot number 1 and then do male number 2 by doing that. Eyes slightly upward, and you've got a really nice head and shoulder there. You can go this way. Now, I don't like all this crotch, so if you're doing 3/4, this wouldn't be good. But if you're going to do a closer head and shoulder, you can bring this up. And actually, I can't lean real well here because of the extra block. So if I push that block out of there, it lets me lean more. So now when I do this, it works really well. You can now see the tops of the fingers, see how my back shoulder is lower than my front shoulder, crop it right in here. And again, with the cross camera, you can do that too. It's pretty cool looking. You can do this. You can, what else can we do here? With male, or, yeah, I think with male, we would go like this. Turn them almost backwards. This is kind of that over the shoulder. And they could do this looking. They can bring it down. Got this as a nice base. Face turns way to the camera, or way to the main light. And that makes a nice head and shoulder shot as well. Now, Kevin, you did something with Shelly. Let's get rid of this so you can see it better. And it really wasn't a bad pose. It was this. This, we'd want to keep the knees together for a female. We don't want this. So you'd want this kind of leg line, and then you could lean them in. Now, you had something like this, which looks very stiff in pose. Just watch the difference here. It's just simply let it hang and let it hang. And again, the pointers. So for a female hand, you've got nice leg lines here and nice hands like that. They can hang, but you can also lift. You don't want a really hard shape here as far as letting them hang, so you want a little more of a gentle curve. So ideally, they would just kind of end up like that for a female. For a male, of course, we don't want to do this leg. We do more, you know, this sort of thing. Even that, I mean, just made something up right there. But that's you sitting on the hip. That worked well. You could go this way. You could even do, if they have a little dog, a little pet could go on there. Even a baby, if you turn just a little, because you want the baby not in front, but a little more to the side. If you did a mom here with a little baby and you had even a bigger seat on here, would be really handy if this went out just a little bit. And I think yours looks like it's bigger. You can put a little 1-year-old on there and lean in and have a shot where the baby's right here too. So that's pretty handy. My primary is the one I showed you with the, like this, with the block of wood under. Other poses you can do with this would be a male standing, leg up on there. If it feels too low, that feels a little low, drop your 4x4 block on there, and then that works well. This is pretty level to the ground, parallel. Hopefully you can still see me in the camera. I think I might be cutting my head off. I'm going to lean in here. Mid-arm. We don't want this. We don't want this. So about midway on that arm, the middle. Leaning in. This hand could do this. Again, we don't want this. This works. You know, that works. You can cut it here on up and you get nice 3/4. This could go in a pocket or on the hip. You could lean in. You can also then get a football, which, let me see if I got one around here. Just adding a prop as cheap as a football. Run out and get one. You've got a foot up, covering the crotch again, same as if we're seated, leaning in. Football here. You want to hold it. I mentioned today we want to do a pose as if you're really doing it. So in other words, if I'm right-handed and I throw a football, you hold the football like that, because to get the spiral, you put your fingers on the laces. So when you're doing the pose, you actually do it like you really would. So it comes up just like this, or because the main light's on this side, we put that foot up, lean in, we got the right grip, a little bit of backbone. I can't see the shot, so I'm just kind of guessing at it, but with a nice masculine tilt, the tilt goes in line with the spine. You don't want to do this, of course. Same with seated. Reach in there like it's real, like you're going to throw it. Lean in, be assertive. I tell them to be assertive, aggressive. We don't really want it in front of their face, so I'll tuck it in here. And it's kind of like this here, like you're going back for, you know, to throw a pass. So you'll tuck it in behind. You could even do that. Tuck it in behind. The purpose of getting it real close instead of down here is you'd have to do a real 3/4 length here. If you bring it in close like this, you can come in really tight and get a lot of dramatic feel out of it by getting that face close, the texture of the football in close. And that works really nice too, so that's easy. Really any type of prop works well with this pose. Let's see. Keep your eyes open for just wacky chairs and stuff. This one's so simple. It's just it's kind of unique, but I do it backwards. I tell people I want, well, girls, this would be a female pose. I tell them I want the knee popping through the hole. This is just like I show in the too many legs pose to get rid of a leg. I'm sitting on my left ankle. You can lean in here. All kinds of different things with this. You can turn it this way. Sitting on my right ankle. Lean. You could even do a guy here. This feels masculine, so feel than just traditional. Same with most real cheap IKEA chair, $99. Something you can order online and or even go find one somewhere. I've seen cooler ones in leather. If you can get a leather, that's great. Otherwise, this is just cheesy IKEA version. Same thing. If we set them normal, you have to sit on the edge. You have to be tall. Very basic and very traditional, very kind of formal feeling. So turn the chair. One that I love to do with girls is that one there. This here. Keep them upward. If you have to, stuff an extra pillow under there because we don't want them like this. So upright. Good leg lines. That would be messy. That's a better leg line. Hand hanging. Again, not a big sharp L, but a gradual feminine hand. Same here. You could go more formal and do the more formal feminine hand, but I tend to like a more relaxed look, so I go like that. You could take this hand and set it here as well. It gives us that nice feminine bend. So for the girls, I love that with a masculine tilt. Let me actually show this from the back. I would take a knee, put it in there, same as I did with the little black chair. And again, all kinds of cool poses we can do it with the camera that way. By sitting on a leg, and this is them. I'm sitting on the other leg this time. Lean in, hands disappear. Why not just fold them in, get rid of them? You could even do this with a guy if you had to. Feminine version, you know, you just play with the hands. They just become more feminine, you know, pushing the hair up. So turning the chairs backwards gives you a lot more variety.